hold them accountable. And I really think that we're making some great headway.
And we want to hear that, and we want to hear more about the progress that was made at the Million Parent March. And I mean, you were there, right? I
was there, yes. Yes.
I seem to recall that you were going to be there. I was going to try to make it. Unfortunately, personal reality hit.
Yeah, this war is brutal. You don't have to explain it to us, honey, and that's what I tell everybody is that have no shame if you couldn't have made it there and stuff, because, you know, we should be able to. It doesn't matter whether we show up in 1 or whether we show up in 1,000 or 10,000 or and a million or 10 million, you know. An injustice to one is an injustice to all. And we ought to be able to have a direct access to having these situations reviewed by an independent oversight committee, especially when it is the state that's violating your rights through a kangaroo process known as the domestic relations courts, you know. So I really think that it was a phenomenal time for me anyway. I got to meet a lot of people. We got to do a lot of networking, you know, and it's been 40, 50 years in the making, the slowly eroding of our rights and taking a little bit more here and a little bit more there. But I believe that we're gaining more ground taking it back. And I really believe that, you know, there's a lot of great things happening. And I think that there is a day fastly approaching where you will see, just as you did with the Gaylord scandal, the Tit for Tat scandal, Judge Squire, Judge Richard McGaffey, where judges are going to be removed from the bench. And I do think that they're going to see an independent third-party oversight because as a society, we cannot go forward and as an active participant for the betterment of society when we have such a broad discretion and discrimination happening every day in the America, when as a judge expects, requires, and demands that Lyra gives an account for each and every single thing that she says or does, but yet the judge is unwilling or unable to step to the same yardstick, and then they take and hide behind a perceived perception that has never been ratified or never have been passed by legislation to grant a judge absolute immunity. And that's one of the biggest illusions that we have. When they talk about the right to lie case out in California and the Ninth Circuit rendered their decision and said that people had been drawn into believe that the CPS workers were immune from liability and that it was a travesty of justice and it wasn't accurate. They had to be held accountable. Well, I believe the same stands true for a judge. I don't believe that you'll find anywhere where legislation has ever granted anybody the right to violate another party's rights, and it would be a violation of the 1983 jurisprudence for them to be able to grant a judge absolute immunity for any and all acts in which they do, especially in light of the U.S. Supreme Court decision in U.S. versus Wells, where Justice Scalia said is that there is no one that far above the law that it cannot be restrained by the law. Immunity, if any, can only be limited or qualified, and it has to be determined upon the facts and the evidence presented at trial. Thus, that means you and I, my friend, have the right to a trial. The problem comes in is that the court doesn't want to give you a trial because you're taking one of their own to task. That's the truth of the matter.
And so this brings up what I have been talking about a lot with people is that there's actually federal code. It's 42 U.S. code subsection 122.202, and I'm sharing that with our audience tonight. And I just want to say to begin with, welcome to the Coalition for the Protection of Children and Families. We are talking with Brian Kinter tonight, and he was at the Million Parent March. I was trying to get there, but I was unable to. I am on the West Coast, and it is on the East Coast, and I have very limited funds. But we want to talk and educate parents and families and even voters of the truth of our government and how much in violation representatives, judges, attorneys, and practically everybody is in this situation that we are all facing. And I thank you so much, Brian, for coming on and talking tonight about this. And I want to just remind everybody that we are going to have this meeting in several sections, because I do not have funding right now to have unlimited access on Zoom. Zoom is definitely a very user-friendly network, and I really appreciate the fact that it is here. It is not really that expensive, but at this time I cannot afford it. So if anybody is interested in assisting the Coalition for the Protection of Children and Families and the Parent Advocate Network to have a continuous meeting where we discuss these real issues and how we can fight back against the system that seems to think that they are immune, and they are not, then please donate to the coalitionforprotection.com. We have a donate button on our website. I can share that again. And we also have someone else here who has come, and I would like to say hello.
Hi.
You want to increase the volume of your audio, and you will be able to hear us better, and we will be able to hear you better. So when we are talking, when one person is talking, if it would be, Tigger, come on, calm down. That's my dog. If we can mute and allow the speaker to have the floor, that would be a lot better for recording and for communication here. And so I apologize, but I just would ask you mute when you are not speaking. Thank you. Hi, welcome.
Sorry.
Volume should be, okay, so when you go down to your little, the bottom of your screen on Zoom, there's a whole menu that comes up, and there's a volume mute audio button. Do you see that? All right. So then just click on that, and you should be, oops, I just muted myself. You should be able to increase the volume. If you cannot, and it'll be under audio options, I believe. If you cannot do it that way, the other way would be looking on your computer. There's keys up on the top of your screen, of your keyboard, I apologize. And one of them should be F3. F3 typically increases the volume on your computer. So Brian, you want to tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing? Love to hear from you.
I'm sorry, what was that, Lyra?
What did you hear and learn when you were at the Million Parent March, and how was the energy there?
Well, I think number one is that we've seen a lot of bridges being rebuilt amongst the advocates. I thought that was a good sign, number one, because we can't afford to be shooting any of our own wounded. You know, I thought that was a positive sign. The second thing is that, you know, there was a motorcade going by with Vice President Pence, and we were able to be out there and have him see the signs and stuff. There was definitely some awareness raised there. And then Rosa Dratz and Diane Lyons was making their rounds, as well as Jody Mueller, Paul Cummings. I mean, a lot of people was hitting the Senate building, Mike McDonald, you know, and trying to raise awareness. But Rosa Dratz and Diane Lyons probably made a huge, significant impact there at Trey Gowdy's office. Even though they weren't able to speak with Mr. Gowdy direct, they did make quite an impact. And I think the big thing is that they felt Diane's heart. I mean, she really opened up and just really was saying, this is a proliferation of abuse that's just damaging so many people across this nation. And, there's a lot of things that's going on, and we're saying that the states are in competition with one another to be able to be in, to compete for Title IV B&E funding, because the more children that they label as a one-parent household or in the foster care, some other program, then the state gets more and more money because of it. So, to me, I think a lot of it was, one, the raising the awareness, but more importantly, I think it was the camaraderie. It was letting people know that it was a day of healing, when you can finally come out and say, hey, I'm not alone. We recognize that, I've been a victim of abuse. And Lyra, if we go back and we look at history, in the 50s and 60s, you very rarely ever heard anybody talk about sexual abuse. It was like a taboo subject. And now, because the abuse is being inflicted by the judiciary has tried to keep a close wrap on it, because they don't want everyone to know of the proliferation that they are damaging these kids, and to the degree that they are. But I think that more and more people are finally standing up and saying, no, there's nothing wrong with me. This was wrong. I was done wrong. And I think it was a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian. We have some guests here that would like to introduce themselves. So I would like to say hello to Karla and what's your name? Cambry's dad. Welcome, regardless.
Yeah, it's Brian.
Brian. So we have Brian, and we have Karla Johnson as well. Good evening to all of you, and I am very happy that you guys have been able to come in on such short notice. I have been, like I said earlier, working in research for the past month and getting some information together, which I hope will be able to help all parents and all families across this nation to get out the information and educate the voters on what's going on and how parental rights are not recognized in many states, and how parents with disabilities are unnecessarily and unjustly discriminated against, and how the federal Constitution protects our unalienable fundamental right to parent our children, and these states are going in complete defiance of that constitutional right. So thank you all for joining again. And Karla, I'm glad you came tonight. Would you like to talk about something in specific, or were you just joining to see what we were talking about? Hello? Karla?
I can hear you.
Great. I'm glad that everybody can hear me now. I was hoping to hear from Karla, but maybe she's not quite ready now. So that's all right. Brian, what do you want people to hear, or what do you want to tell people that are uncertain right now as to the parent advocate group, the parents that are out there doing what they can? And then there's uncertainty because there's been some conflict. What would you like people to know?
Are you talking to me?
Brian?
You go ahead, Brian Atkins. Go ahead. I yield.
I appreciate that. Thank you. What I was looking for is you are brought into, we don't have the ability of these attorneys. We don't know the law. We are in law, they are at law. And what I'm saying is the illusion of what Kinter is saying is what they've done is they've taken advantage of us. And I can't go into a lot further, but going back on point with parents, if you put your child first, you are able to look beyond. Oh, are we there? Okay. You are able to look beyond, and you can finally see how you put the child first. And the tactics used, I can't label. I'm not going to, what I'm saying is the abuses are limitless. They are after one thing, money. But who's they? And again, I can't identify. This conference is to say this: we are biological parents, and we love and care for our children. It's the corporations that refuse to acknowledge who they are, what they're doing. There's no transparency, and you need to question Kinter on this. And the illusion is they refuse to acknowledge what they're doing to us in this nation. And that's something that is multi-level. Don't expect, and I'm not going to tell much, I'm just saying be true. I don't want soapbox here. I'm saying I don't know how I dodged them, but I did. They don't have jurisdiction on me, and I'm a threat. And I'm now starting to make public notice, finally on video, because at this juncture, what they're doing is they only care about themselves, but we only care about our children. And see, we need to start doing that correlation. And there's people involved, it's helping, but for the parents listening and watching, and child first. Now, abuse allegation, there's a lot. It's a moving, it's going to take a while. But the elephant in the room is, why are the people getting paid to do the direct opposite of what they're supposed to do? And I need Kinter to kind of go in with that. So with that being said, I have to yield the floor for now. So thank you.
Brian Kinter, you now have the floor. We're talking about how we deal with this situation that parents are in conflict with each other, instead of when we're talking about, this is about children first, right? This is about the love of our children, and how can we make sure that our children's safety and well-being is protected without having to go and argue with other parents about the way we've done things. Hello, Brian, are you there? Brian Kinter?
I'm here. I'm sorry, honey. I'm trying to deal with a phone call here with my boy. He's upset because I'm on my way to get my daughter, and he doesn't want me to go get his sister, and all the travesties of life, you know, all of the nonsense. So I apologize. I'm just trying to run 15 things, and like you said earlier, you know, you wanted to be in D.C. and things of life, and this is one of those times where things of life. My daughter went up here, and you know, she was supposed to be up here for the weekend, and if I was supposed to have the younger child down home, and then the next thing I know is that all hell breaks loose up there, and it's like, then, hey, Dad has to run to the rescue. So that's the way life goes. So I apologize. So
Well, thank you,
go
Brian.
ahead and tell me one more time, because I'd like to be an impart.
All right, I'm going to let the other Brian, I don't know his last name. I'm sorry.
Brian Van Atkins. Brian Van Atkins, yeah. And one of the things that Brian Van Atkins, and this is what I think that he's illuminating too, is that all of us believe when we go into court that the court's about truth. And it's only once as you get in there do you discover the court don't care about truth. The court cares about what's going to make the most money for the court. The first business of the court is the business of the court, and the business of the court is making money. And so how they do that? They take and they run you down all these little rabbit trails, because if you were in a intact home, the state would have a mandated duty and obligation and a responsibility to bring you in front of a jury of your peers if there was ever an allegation of abuse. But yet when you go into the domestic relations arena, they simply placate it and predicate it upon an allegation, and then you have to jump through all these hoops and hurdles to prove yourself innocent that you can never do, because you'll never satisfy the court. You know, I will never forget when I was going down and they had us going to see a psychologist, Dr. Casey Callagher, and on one time when I seen my children, he said that Mr. Kinter was, or the children were very clingy, and Mr. Kinter would embrace the children, and he didn't think that it was healthy. The next time, after I read that report, I was a little standoffish because I was thinking, well, I don't know what to do here. The next time he was saying that I showed no compassion towards my children. You know, so it's like you're in a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation. And the court writes they write fiction as though it's fact, and then that fact becomes, or that fiction becomes a reality simply because it's written into the record. And the court, it's just an illusionary process, Lyra. You know, it's the biggest waste of time, energy, and resources. It does more damage to these children, bar none. Ira Scott, who has worked with Jim Kelly up there, doing on the ACE studies and the adverse childhood studies, and you look at all the things that's going on and how these children are negatively impacted. It goes into when they hit 30, 40, 50 years of age. And none of us know the damage, you know, because it's all suppressed. It's long term. And yet the court wants you to think that, hey, we're doing this for the best interest of the children. The truth is that the state can't give you a statutory definition as to what defines the best interest. They can give you some elements. They can give you some prerequisites, but they cannot give you a statutory definition to define what exactly is the best interest.
I totally agree, Brian, and I wanted at this point to share with all of you, I am wearing a ribbon. It is actually a compilation of ribbons. There has been a lot about this, and I'm sharing with you about the antenna ribbon review. I like to wear a little bit of a ribbon, kind of an awareness ribbon. This is a campaign of awareness ribbons that has been going on for quite some time now, and what some people are doing is putting ribbons with pink and blue on their antennas of their cars, and we want people to be aware, raise the awareness, and we wear these ribbons and we put them on our cars in order to bring this awareness to people. When people ask, hey, why are you wearing this ribbon here? Well, I'm wearing this ribbon for the millions of children that are being illegally abducted by CPS and the Department of Children and Families and taken away from perfectly good families and put with strangers, complete strangers, based on 15% evidence, which could be a person's statement to the Department of Children and Families that they think a child is being abused or neglected. and that's it. And what Brian has talked about the importance of understanding the courts that parents are being forced into, is these courts are de facto courts. And here I would like Karla, if she is able to please join and talk to us a little more about the fake courts that parents and families are forced into. Karla, are you available yet?
I'm here. I haven't tested my speakers or anything. I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you.
I don't know. I mean, I've been dealing with these courts for over 8 years, and it's a total waste of time to even contemplate how you could possibly win, because you're never ever going to win in these courts, period. They don't have jurisdiction. They've taken jurisdiction and they don't have the authority to have. You have to go back in history, because we're none of us are U.S. citizens. You actually have to apply to be a U.S. citizen. And the United States of America is actually a corporation, which is a 10-mile radius of Washington, D.C. So I'm not even in these courts anymore. And actually, our case was presented, and we only have 3 people here tonight, but our case was presented to the Human Rights Tribunal, and I would create the great jury, and they started hearing mine and my daughter's case on July 27th of this year, and we have an indictment.
That's awesome, Karla. And I want you to know that even though there are only a few people right now listening in, that I publish these interviews and sessions for people, and there have been a lot of people that have listened to our past interviews regarding the Human Rights Tribunal and the way that it has been set up, and how people can participate in the Human Rights Tribunal as both a great juror member or with their case, or both. And so I'm very glad that you are here tonight. And sometimes, and this is what I've said before, but sometimes it's better that we only have a few people right here talking, because we can focus on specific solutions to this issue. And we don't have a whole bunch of different voices that don't understand. We're here to educate parents about the reality, the real facts, not the ones that parents have been told by CPS, have been told by their public defenders. We want them to know the real truth of the matter and what they can really do in this situation. And so I really appreciate that you are here, Karla. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I really, we're still in the process of litigating this. So, I mean, I haven't really been on Facebook, and I haven't revealed the fact that we have an indictment yet, because the other party has to be served still. So I'm not sure that it may be a good idea to even let the cat out of the bag yet.
Well,
little edit there.
Yes, I'll do a little edit, just a little one.
Yeah, just a little one. It's pretty significant what we've done. I mean, there is, in my daughter's case, what the great jury did was they separated our cases. So I have one case, and my daughter's case is separate. So now the state of Arizona actually has two cases against them for human rights violations, and I can tell you that in my daughter's case, the great jury did find 398 human rights violations. That's pretty significant.
Yes, it is. And for many parents in this country, there are many human rights violations that are being perpetuated. And we want all parents to know that there is a higher court, there is justice that is out there, and you gotta get it. You gotta grab it. You join the Human Rights Tribunal, you submit your case to the Human Rights Tribunal. You can go to the coalitionforprotection.com, and we have links available there. There's also information there for you to learn about what the Human Rights Tribunal is all about. And you just go to www.coalition4, that's the number 4, protection.com. And I'm going to share with you now, this is a page that we have available for you parents to learn about your human rights and how important these human rights are, and how the Human Rights Tribunal is seeking strong advocates to serve as members of a great jury. And the great jury has county, state, national, international jurisdiction to hear evidence of crimes, present the facts and findings, and issue an indictment. And there's information about what the Universal Declarations of Human Rights are. And the Declaration of Human Rights, basically, you know, it's all about humanity and what we as humans have a right to, despite anything else. And so thank you very much, Karla. Appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
Keep on, right?
Well, this is definitely going to, it's going to change, it's going to change the world. It really is.
And the more parents that get involved, the better, because the more that we can get indictments against state officials, judges, and the whole gambit for the human rights violations they have committed against a whole bunch of parents in this country, the better it's going to be, the faster it's going to be resolved. And so we got to keep on doing that. Keep on charging ahead for that. Justice will be served.
Right, it is going to be served, Lyra. It says here that in my daughter's indictment, it's called a True Bill of Indictment. It says that there's claims under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the subject matter, which are her sons, with claims represented under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as Convention on the Rights of the Child, whereby the state of Arizona, also known as operating as under in fiction, unknown, or parallel in the state of Arizona, and or private or not, in corporation or not. So the state of Arizona is it's a state that's operating on fiction.
Yes, one of the many states that is operating on fiction. And I was wondering, Karla, is there any way that parents can view your daughter's claim, or at least a part of it, in order to see about putting something else?
I can, well, I mean, it's published. You know, let me just get the link to, I did, let's see here.
And while you're looking for that, I just want to state at this point in time, we have 10 minutes on this Zoom conference call. It's a free conference call. In order to upgrade to this conference call, I would need $14.99 a month. Now, at this time, I have spent a lot of money in my own as a volunteer to help parents and families become educated. And so I am requesting that parents who are watching this, please, we need your donations. And for a donation of $5, I will send you this simple ribbon I've created. It's fabric ribbon. It has 3 colors to it, and it's an awareness ribbon. These ribbons you can wear like I am wearing right now, and they are to bring awareness to the public that children all over the country are being wrongfully taken from their parents and put with perfect strangers. And they are being abused, they are being neglected, they are being tortured, they are being put into slavery, sex slavery, and they are being killed. And they are becoming homeless. And this is not stopping, and we have to stop this once and for all. And everything that we can do in order to bring this education and awareness and information to the public, because the public matters. They're the ones that vote. And if they know what they're voting for, then they're going to be helping more people. And we need to educate voters about what's going on with legislation in states, what's going on with legislation in the federal government, and just stopping this senseless abuse and tyranny. And so, Karla, you say you have that link? You have that link?
I put the links in chat.
Okay. So I will add this to the video when I publish it on YouTube. We have a channel there at Coalition for Protection.
Oh.
Yes?
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes, we do. And I can send you a link to this particular video after I've edited it. Sorry. And then if you can share it, we're going to be starting up again every Saturday, getting together and talking about this. Now, I want you all to know that a part of what I've been working on is creating a party, a political party. And it's the Family Rights Party, and it's only in the state of California right now, but we do expect to expand in about 6 months. And if you want to learn more about what we're doing, go to familyrightsparty.com and see what's going on. The idea of the Family Rights Party is to identify and support political candidates in the upcoming elections who support family values, who support parental rights. In not only the state of California, where parental rights are not considered fundamental rights, but also across the nation. And we will be coming together and getting more and more focused and expand from our current position. We are looking for parents in the state of California right now. It will change. But right now, we are looking for parents in the state of California who are dedicated and want to be involved. You want to, I'll let you speak now, Brian. Here, let me unmute you. Hey there.
No, there's a phone call.
And hello. I am gonna have to stop this particular part of the meeting in about 5 minutes. But if you have something quick you would like to say, please.
Well, hello, it's Ryan.
Is Brian?
Ryan.
Oh, Ryan. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? Welcome. We were just speaking with Karla.
Okay.
Karla was talking about the Human Rights Tribunal. I'm glad that you're here, Ryan. Thank you for coming. I do apologize that we do have to cut this conversation short, but is there something you would like to talk about?
Not right this moment.
Well, your presence is welcome, and we appreciate you being here. And like I said earlier, we will be having the Parent Advocate Network meetings every single Saturday. And I've changed the time to 7 p.m. because I think that's more, I don't know, flexible. It's flexible. Let me know.
Yeah, Lyra, before you publish anything about our case, run it by me first,
I will, and I will.
please.
I will send you the edited version. And you wanted, what specifically do you want to remove? Or no, you just tell me on the chat, and I'll make sure. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it. I just want to be careful because I want to make sure that the other parties get served before anything goes real public. But what I sent you right now it is published, so that is public information.
Okay, great. And this is really great news for parents who are on the edge or uncertain at this point in time as to whether or not to file their claim with the Human Rights Tribunal. Please do it. This is important. This will work. We need to be putting as many claims into the Human Rights Tribunal as possible. And you can go to the website www.coalitionforprotection.com, and we have a link here about how to participate, how to become a great jury member, how to submit your claim. So I ask everybody who's watching this to please, if you have been violated, if your human rights have been violated, please, you owe it to your children and to yourself to do this. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us tonight. And I hope that we have lots more members come on board in the months and weeks to follow. And I ask that parents and parent advocates to consider participating in our online service that right now is offline, as you see. This is a immediate assistance service. And if parents and parent advocates would just spend an hour of their day or of a week being logged in to this particular service, you will help thousands of parents. I guarantee it. And it's that easy. And I appreciate y'all coming tonight. Thank you so much for your participation. You have a good night.
Good night.